In this video tutorial, we're going to take a look at the steering. So we have already wired in our suspension for the two front tires. They have their limitations set, and now we're going to add the steering, which will not only control the rotation of the front tire, but also the left to right movement for the steering as well. Now, the trick for this particular node is to make sure that you align this pivot point in the side view with the center of the tire. Okay, the pivot point of this node needs to be aligned with the center of the tire. Then you need to make sure that it is centered in the world, centered on that X direction, the side-to-side direction right there on the thick line of the grid. So you can see it's centered on the vehicle, and it is then offset to the front of the vehicle so that your animator can very quickly get a hold of that to animate with it. Alright, now just like is true for the other handles, making sure to maintain that offset is critical for the movement of those tires. So we're going to go ahead and select the control object. You can see here I've named it steering _ CTL, control object. And one at a time, I'm going to go ahead and get the front wheel group nodes. So control key down and select on that group node for the front left tire wheel, and I'm going to come on up here to constrain, and in this case I'm going to use an orient constraint. Go ahead and get your options box up, make sure to reset that, and again go ahead and check on that maintain offset. Now let's go ahead and talk about the functionality of this node. You want it to rotate, which rotates the tire around the x-axis. So checking this particular axis is important. You also want it to go rotate around the y. So that'll give you the steering functionality on that, so y. And then we do not need to have it rotate around the z. So we're simply going to use the x and the y axes for the constraint. Go ahead and add those and test your functionality, grabbing the handle only. Rotate, okay, there you go, you got the rotation of the tire. Control Z to go back to the original location, and we're going to check side-to-side movement as well. Now if you've put the pivot point on the inside of the wheel, it should pivot around that and respect the offset. And there you go. Alright, now we need to go ahead and wire in the other tire. We'll do that together in this video. Just to give you a second look at that, I'm going to go ahead and select the handle, then Control Shift the other front tire or wheel group, and then we're going to come on up here to constraint. We're going to use an orient constraint, and we've already set the settings for that. We're using the XY axes to constrain, and we're also maintaining the offset. Go ahead and add that, and again make sure that you're testing your rigging before you move on, and it works fine. Make sure it's working fine for both tires. Good. Alright, let's save this iteration, and we will come back and look at the rotation of the back tires.